Human design manifestors are powerful and highly impactful on others. When they are embodying a high level of emotional intelligence, this can be profoundly beneficial for their relationships and careers. And on the flip side, at the other end of the emotional spectrum, this can be detrimental. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about emotional intelligence for manifestors. We'll cover how they emotionally impact others, emotional pitfalls to watch out for, solutions to those pitfalls, and best practices for manifestors to help them embody their emotional intelligence potential. If you're a manifestor, you love a manifestor, or you work with a manifestor, this episode is for you. Welcome to the Heart-Centered Human Design podcast, Emotional Intelligence and Conscious Business, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs and professionals that want meaningful success and work-life balance so they can wake up every day feeling empowered, inspired, and supported by work and life. I'm your host, Vanessa Naja, human design specialist and coach, and I am so excited to share this incredible system with you so you can be on purpose, fulfill your potential, and build a business and life that you love. To get the most out of today's episode, you will already want to have an understanding of the Manifestor Human Design type. If you would like a review, go back to season 1 and listen to episode 4 of that season to get the foundational understanding of manifestors so that you can get the most out of this episode. The purpose, the overarching theme for manifestors is to initiate. They are highly creative. They are here to start things in the world through their unique creative connection that they have. They get these creative urges or downloads that they are meant to put out into the world. Manifestors are fairly rare. They're only 8 to 9% of the population. And they are, because they're here to innovate and to start new things, it's important that they are not susceptible to outside influence, and their electromagnetic frequency or their aura protects them from that. And their aura is often referred to as closed and repelling. I don't personally like the word repelling. I do prefer to use the word protective, but really all that means is it is repelling outside influence that would keep the manifestor from initiating or doing what they are meant to be doing. This aura, however, makes the manifestors hard to read. People can feel intimidated by manifestors. They can feel a little afraid or scared of them because their aura is hard to read and people react to manifestors often in a specific way. This can make the manifestor feel misunderstood, isolated, and different. And they are different, and they are here to do things differently than 91% of the population. Because of this difference, they can feel lonely. So it's important when manifestors learn to understand their aura and why it is like this and why they have a certain strategy to reduce resistance in their life, this can be really beneficial for them and all of their relationships, including their work relationships. Manifestors are powerful and they are highly impactful on other people. And often they don't even realize that, and they do not understand why others react to them the way that they do. Because they're so impactful and because they're so hard to read, it's not uncommon that other people try to control manifestors because these other people are trying to basically reduce the impact that the manifestors have. And of course, this is all on a subconscious level. Now, manifestors hate being controlled. Like, this is absolutely their kryptonite. And of course, this can cause problems in relationships. The other thing that can happen with manifestors when people react to them in this almost scared, intimidated way is that they really step into this not self, this conditioned self of trying to people please, trying to be extra nice or extra helpful so that other people react to them differently. They will hide their power and are often afraid to fully step into their power. And when they're hiding their power and not really stepping into their power, they cannot be on purpose. They cannot fulfill their potential. So reconnecting with their inherent power is probably the most important thing that a manifestor can do. The manifestor strategy, which is to inform, helps reduce resistance in their life. Informing allows other people into the manifestor's aura. It lets other people know what the manifestor is planning on doing, what they are initiating. Informing itself can be initiating somebody else. Letting other people into the manifestor's aura in this way is really beneficial for the relationships. Also, with the informing, it lets other people know what is coming down the line so that they can be prepared for what that impact might be on them. Informing is not asking for permission. It is just letting other people know, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm initiating, and then other people can either get on board and support the manifestor in that, or they can get out of the way. Manifestors have to initiate in order to fulfill their purpose. A lot of us are conditioned to wait for things to come to us, to see what shows up and go after that. And that is correct for a lot of the population. It is not correct for manifestors. They have to initiate everything. And if they're not initiating, their life just isn't going to flow as smoothly. The problem that comes up here is that inherent with initiating something new is the fear of rejection. So manifestors can often struggle with the fear of rejection because initiating can result in rejection. It's important for them to follow and trust their strategy and their authority, to know that by initiating, once you have followed your authority, your unique decision-making strategy, that you will be headed in the right direction as a manifestor. And that can sometimes include painful lessons, because that is part of life. We are all here to learn and grow, and we're going to experience some painful lessons, challenges, struggles. This is what makes us stronger. This makes us smarter. This is what we are part of our process. So knowing that that is going to be part of life no matter what is really important, and that trusting that by following your strategy and authority, even when you do get rejected, and it will happen, this is part of the lesson. This is part of what you're working on, and the people that are for you are not going to be rejecting you. You can almost think of that saying, rejection is protection. So creating resilience around rejection and really owning their power is key for manifestors. They have to do this in order to really fulfill their highest potential and be on purpose. Manifestors receive these creative urges, these urges to do, to create, to start something new, to initiate, and often they're brand new things that have never been seen before, and they can seem unreasonable. But the manifestor really has to follow their flow and their creative urges. This flow is a non-verbal inner flow, and when their flow is interrupted, this energy can really, it comes out as anger. And this can be as simple as, if a manifestor is in their flow, they're really doing their thing and creating in the way that they love, and somebody can ask them just a simple question, just a very innocent question, and that interrupts their flow, which can result in that not self theme of anger. And to remember, the not self theme is type specific. Everybody's going to experience this at some point in their life. But for manifestors, if you're angry all the time, you want to be looking at your strategy and authority. Informing can look as simple as letting somebody know, hey, I'm going to be stepping into my office. I'm going to be doing some work. I would like to not be interrupted, and I'll let you know when I'm done. That eliminates that possibility of being interrupted and having your creative flow disturbed and then experiencing that anger. Manifestors also like to be informed by others. So this is really helpful for people to know that are in relationships with manifestors or working with manifestors. So I'll give an example of my mom, who was a manifestor. And when I was a fully grown adult living far away from my mom, whenever I was traveling, my mom always wanted me to call her and inform her whenever I've arrived somewhere. And if I did not do that, or I took too long, or I forgot, she would get mad. This was back in the days when texting wasn't such a big thing, and it was, I'm doing my thing, or I'm someplace where it's hard to make a phone call. But my mom really wanted to be informed of when I was arriving somewhere. And yes, you could also chalk that up to being a mom, but that manifestor informing aspect was really important. And interestingly enough, I kind of had this with her as well. Like, I also wanted her to inform me when she was arriving somewhere. And I didn't have this so much necessarily with other people in my life that weren't manifestors. So just a little anecdote about that. When manifestors are able to be who they are and follow their creative flow and work without interruptions, they get to experience their signature theme of peace. And it is, again, that piece of really being allowed to be who they are and initiate peacefully without being interrupted all of the time. So that is a signature theme. And if you've ever experienced a manifestor in the peaceful state, it is so beautiful and so impactful. So as a manifestor, this is one of the ways that your emotional intelligence, when you are using your strategy and authority, doing your deconditioning work, stepping into your power, working on that fear of rejection, like you get to experience that theme of peace. And this is really impactful on other people. And it's really beautiful. Manifestors at work. If you are working with a manifestor and you are their supervisor, they do not like to be told what to do and they do not like to be controlled. Obviously, at work, sometimes you're going to have to be like, here's the stuff that needs to get done. The best way to do that is to just inform them of your vision, what it is that you're trying to create, and then you just let them take it and do their thing. Micromanaging is never going to work with a manifestor. I would not recommend it. So it's important to know that with your colleagues, with the people that you're working with, also with your bosses. Inform them of what you're doing. Just let them know, I'm working on this now. It'll be done approximately then. Manifestors love that. If you love a manifestor, the things that are really important for you to remember is to inform them because they like to be informed. You want to understand that they need to follow their flow. And you want to give them space to be who they are and do things in their own way. Do not try to control them because that will never go well. And don't take their anger personally. Remember that we're all going to experience our not self themes from time to time. And it's not personal. So I know that can be hard and it, takes a level of awareness, but just remember that their anger is not necessarily personal. If you happen to innocently interrupt a manifestor to ask them what they want for dinner and you didn't realize they were in their creative flow and they get mad, it's not about you. If you want to learn more about your own emotional intelligence, how to step into the highest expression of it, we are all so unique. Being a manifestor or whatever type you are is just the very top level kind of surface of how individualized your human design is. I would love to invite you into my Emotional Intelligence by Human Design program, where we dive deeply and specifically into your own chart and come up with practical solutions that help you step into your highest potential of your emotional intelligence. You can check that out at vanessanaja.com/emotional intelligence. I will also drop a link in the show notes. And I'd love to hear how this episode landed for you. Please give me a shout out at HD Vanessa Naja on Instagram. You can send me a DM. I would love to connect with you, and I will see you in the next episode.